carbon emissions, carbon trading, climate change, he says, she says, carbon this, carbon that. Talk about confusing. Oh, g'day, I'm CP. That's short for carbon particle. Though my shrink reckons it's more like completely paranoid, what with all the flack I've been copping lately about my emissions. Excuse me, don't know why. It's just me and the boys letting off a bit of steam. We're growing lads. Hey, who says we're getting out of control? Huh? Who said that? No, was it you? Anyway, what's wrong with a bit of climate change anyway? Okay, so maybe there is a problem, and sure, me and the boys need to be kept under control. But all this stuff in the media isn't helping, is it? Yeah, no, that's better, thank you. Now, I know these guys down at ClimateWorks, real smarty pants types, and they've come up with this thing they call the Low Carbon Growth Plan for Australia. Something that will cut me down to size and cut me down. Sorry. The Low Carbon Growth Plan will cut me down to size, but also help make Australia more prosperous for the future. That's what it's all about, the future. The thing about ClimateWorks, it isn't one of those government mobs. They're completely independent. But they saw that lots of people around Australia, as groups or on their own, or even as businesses, were making an effort right now to reduce pollution. Like me. ClimateWorks knew everyone needs to achieve more, so they built on this to create the Low Carbon Growth Plan. So you see, things have started. And if everyone gets stuck into it, it will add up to what the scientists say we need this decade. And that's not just hot air. The Low Carbon Growth Plan has practical ways for householders, business, farmers and community groups to cut carbon emissions in ways that save money, increase business profits and even create jobs. Wait. Before you hide your wallets, it can be cheap too. The Low Carbon Growth Plan has 62 specific actions to reduce carbon emissions, which are broken down into 3 simple groups. The first one is energy efficiency. And I don't mean having a nice lie down. It's as simple as making sure the appliances you buy are more energy efficient, or making sure that your next car is really fuel efficient. The great thing is, saving energy saves you money on your energy bills. It's not hard. This bloke is already doing it.
I'm Stephen Nugent and...
I'm Fiona Hawke.
And we live in Orange in central west New South Wales. We have been very conscious the last couple of products, big appliances that we have purchased. We've been one of the main, or if not the main, criterion has been the energy consumption or the water consumption or both. So in terms of the washing machine, we've got a front loader that had the lowest water consumption per load and a low energy consumption. We got a LED LCD TV that had the lowest energy consumption rating in the store. We are doing a planning to do a bit of a renovation here and probably getting rid of the old electric oven stove and getting a gas stove top. Yeah, so we're looking at reducing our energy consumption through the choice of appliances. The figures I understand in terms of turning down a thermostat 1 degree, you can save 10% per degree, 10 or 15% through the roof. So when you add all of these things up, while each one may be relatively small, if you can make it 20 or 30% reduction in your energy consumption as power prices increase, that's going to be a bigger dollar factor.
Back again. Okay then, well, it's the same thing for business. No matter how big or small, more energy efficient air conditioning systems and machinery can save real money and help businesses make more. Here's a businessman who can show you what I mean.
My name is Tony McManus. I work with PRD nationwide in Lara and Geelong, and we're involved in the sale and management of real estate. I think we've taken a fairly conservative approach to how we go about being green. A lot of the initiatives are very simple ones, just being conscious of the power consumption with our air conditioning, and just by adjusting the air conditioning temperature levels by a couple of degrees can have a significant saving. Automatic timers on light switches. A big saving for us was better use of our photocopier, where we made sure that we did a lot of dual-sided printing rather than single-sided printing. And we estimate that we saved about 5 reams of paper per month. But it's not just the paper, it's also the energy we were saving by halving the printing load. So that became something like a 30% saving on that machine. I think what really helped us achieve some of our results was the establishment of our green team, and they wandered around the office and identified a whole lot of little things that could be done. And by getting them engaged, they implemented what we needed to do, and it's surprising how many small measures add up to significant savings when they're aggregated. Obviously there's some financial savings to achieve by lowering our energy consumption, and I think it also we were surprised about the positive spin-off from a marketing perspective of people identifying our company as being a company that does care about the environment. And so apart from the direct cost savings that you achieve, which flows through to the bottom line, the indirect intangible measures are improvement of staff morale. There's probably some of those other benefits that you won't see up front, but by actually doing it, they will flow through.
Oh, you're back.
Pretty interesting what those two are doing, eh?
The second one is forestry and farming. That's all about how we manage the land more effectively. Like with farms and cattle and... Oh. Hello. Carbon can also be absorbed. And stored. In the soil, that is. Forest conservation and planting new trees is another great thing to do. Whee! Because trees suck carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere. Oh, look. I think I lost some weight. It all helps reduce emissions and make farming more environmentally and economically sustainable. Here's a farmer who can explain what those long words mean.
I'm Ann Davey,
And I'm Bob Davey.
and we're on our farming property, Bimbadine.
A lot of benefits in tree planting. We've planted about 45,000 trees, and we plant 2,500 trees annually at least. The main impacts are shelter, bird life, increased production from the paddocks. There's a wildlife corridor that runs right through the island now, which started on our property. We've planted break of slope plantings, so we can actually see the difference in the paddocks from how those trees are reacting and the salt's taken up. So we can actually get a visual sighting on the improvement in the pasture. So if you've got improvement in pasture, you've got improvement in growth rate. We're now part of the Carbon Farmers of Australia, and we're involved with that, and we've put a few entries into Carbon Farmers, so we're trying to prove now that we can sequester carbon back into our paddocks by doing a trial run, and we hope to be able to do 30, 50 and 100 tonne of carbon per hectare. What we've done is we've sown down legumes at this stage. Those legumes are going to pull in nitrogen from the atmosphere and put that back into the soil. We're going to mulch that material back into the paddock, possibly 3 or 4 times, and we're going to build up quite a bit of nitrogen, and then in the summer we're going to put our crops in to actually sequester carbon. So if we can do this over the whole farm over a period of time by just taking certain paddocks and virtually sacrificing them for a year or 2 years, we're going to get added benefit back, and then we can move on to other paddocks each year. We've got an Angus stud and we've got a Brangus stud. We've got about 74 to 80 paddocks on the property, 360 acres. We rotate them around in different mobs, so they're in the paddock about 2 days depending on the growth in the particular season, and then they're moved on to the next paddock, and that helps a lot in worm control, and they're always getting fresh grass, and so they're putting on more weight and they're they're doing better. Like the cattle behind us went in yesterday and they'll be out tomorrow. So that paddock then starts to recover and it gets a long recovery phase, so it's going to grow better. So it's just a lot better all round for the cattle and the pasture.
We're very privileged to look after this piece of land in our lifetime, and we want to pass it on in a better condition than was presented to us when we started. And we believe that farming communities are important, not only for the visual amenity, but what they produce. And family farming is a very strong component, I believe, in Australian society.
Now, the third group, and my favourite, the power sector! This one really gets me going. No, it really gets me going. Electricity. Electricity, yeah! Sorry. Don't know what came over me then. Okay, once again, the technology exists. There are renewable energy sources, like wind and solar. And switching from coal to biogas electricity generation can cut carbon emissions in the short term in a huge way. Like I said earlier, the Low Carbon Growth Plan has 62 opportunities for reducing carbon emissions. Now watch closely and you'll see just how much carbon each of them can save. Woohoo! Okay, have you added it all up yet? No? Relax, I've already done it. If things don't change now, by 2020 there'll be 690 million tonnes of meat created. Whilst I am popular, that will be a bit crowded. But if you bite the bullet now, would you believe Australia can save at least 272 million tonnes of carbon? The brainiacs at ClimateWorks reckon this would reduce emissions by at least 25% below the levels of the year 2000. That's what the scientists say is the minimum needed anyway.
Yes, at least 25%.
That's great. With 25% less of me, I'd be able to fit in my old disco pants. No more chafing. It's also great for anyone who likes to watch their pennies because things like energy efficiency actually save money. And the money that gets saved here with energy efficiency balances out the cost of saving carbon up here in the power sector. So, if you want to see something like this, and I'm sure you all do, join all the people across Australia who are using the Low Carbon Growth Plan in their homes, their businesses and their communities. As for me, well, I'm off to my weekly therapy session. See ya.
You can play a part in making the Low Carbon Growth Plan work for Australia, both with your own actions and by helping share this information with others. You'll find all the information and support you need on the ClimateWorks website.